Hi everyone, and welcome to my annual countdown of favourite artworks of the year. Now 2021 was an extremely busy year for me, so instead of a top 5 this year, we've got a top 10, and even that was difficult for me to choose. So let's dive straight into my favourite artworks of 2021. Now, because they're the same theme, in 10th place I have a joint artwork. So it's the two artworks I created for the vaccine. The first one being a continuation from my NHS thank you artwork that I created alongside the Cardiff and Vale Health Charity in 2020. This one is Vaccination Hope. It is on display outside all hospitals in Wales, as well as the NHS thank you one from the year before. As well as that vaccine artwork, I also used vaccine packaging at the Mass Vaccination Centre in Cwmbran to create this portrait of Aneurin Bevan. Number 9 was an artwork that I've wanted to create for many years, and this year seemed extremely fitting, being as it was a big anniversary of the 9/11 disaster. I created this artwork of a fireman, which is taken from a photograph from that day, actually by firing a fire extinguisher full of paint. Number 8 is a very, very fun artwork. I actually had approval from the Queen herself on this artwork by one of her pages at the Royal Albert Hall when I went to the Royal Variety Performance. This is an artwork of the Queen and her 3 corgis, created using a carpet cleaner by Dr. Beckman on a dirty carpet. Just, you know, that's me. Number 7 was yet another quite powerful artwork to create by using an ink stamper and several words of abuse that our NHS and frontline workers have received throughout this pandemic. I used those words to stamp a bruised face of a frontline worker alongside the Cardiff and Vale Health Charity, the Arts for Health and Wellbeing Department. That was on display outside the Wales Millennium Centre for several months and is now on display within the Cardiff and Vale Health Board. Number 6 was probably one of the biggest challenges I've had yet. I had to individually glue thousands and thousands of empty beer cans at the Tiny Rebel Brewery just outside of Newport. And then I painted a huge artwork of David Bowie, Rebel Rebel, and it's definitely one of my favourites. Number 5, we're into the top 5 already. This was without a doubt a very special moment for me. I was asked by the car company Lexus here in Cardiff to create a special wrap for one of their cars ahead of the Cardiff Life Awards, and I decided to create Cardiff landmarks, 4 iconic Cardiff landmarks, using images of you guys, the people of Cardiff, the people that live here, the people that make the city amazing. It was then wrapped around the car, and I got to have the car for a few weeks as well. It was just an amazing project, and I love how that looks. Number 4, I could not mention this amazing trip that I had in the summer this year. I got to go to, well, I say summer, it was September, I think. I can't remember, it's all blurring into one. But number 4 is Pavarotti, a portrait of Pavarotti that I created alongside the 2 competition winners during my time in Rome. Both of these artists are absolutely incredible. We've got very different styles, all 3 of us. I was finger painting, there was pastel, and there was extreme detail with the biro as well. And to work with these artists collaboratively at the end of my 2 weeks in Rome at the Sagrapanti Gallery was a huge honour. And I just love this portrait of Pavarotti. So that's my number 4. Number 3 is throwing us right back to January of 2021, one of the biggest pieces of artwork and most challenging that I've ever created actually, and it's not a portrait. So it was my project teaming up with the 000 TV show, and I was actually using flour to simulate cocaine alongside the new series 000 on Now TV, and I had to create a world map and the height of certain areas within the map simulated with statistics to do with cocaine smuggling around the world. So it was quite a unique, quite a different, powerful project, but I'm extremely pleased with how this looks, and it looked amazing in the magazine venue in London with the backdrop of London behind it. I mean, that looks so cool. I'm extremely pleased with that. Number 2, so we're getting very close now to my favourite artwork of 2021. Number 2 was a very powerful and personal artwork. When I saw online this young boy in Liverpool, Josh Ormrod, was homophobically attacked, and the status that I read on Instagram was so incredibly powerful, I wanted to create something to try and turn this into a positive and raise awareness, which is exactly why Josh put it online. So I approached him first, I got his approval, and then I recreated his battered face by actually putting my fists, my knuckles in paint and punching the canvas. This was a very powerful piece of performance art, I guess. The video is kind of more powerful than the final piece, but to have this then on display during my big exhibition in Cardiff Morgan Quarter, it was on display in the window opposite one of the LGBT venues here in Cardiff, Mary's, and the response I had from people was just phenomenal, and Josh himself also. So I hope that at some point this will get to live permanently in his city of Liverpool. I am in talks about this, but art can sometimes remind people and speak in ways that certain words can't. And I'm very grateful to Josh for allowing me to use my work to do this. And yes, thank you so much for all the comments regarding this piece, because it's an extremely personal one to both Josh and I. Number 1, first place in my favourite artwork I created during 2021. Now this was unanimous, to be honest. I could not even think of another artwork that would have come close to this. It was an extremely personal, difficult, challenging, emotional piece to create, and it was my piece that I created during my time on the Sky Arts programme Landmark, and it is this huge sculpture here of a miner, Johnny Thomas. Did all my research into this and found out so much about him during the process and his family and who he was. Johnny Thomas, who was one of the first miners on the scene that day in 1966 of the Aberfan disaster. This is created using Corten steel and a clock for every single individual life that was lost that day. And I had to stop each clock on 9:13 a.m, which is the time that the landslide hit the Pantglas Junior School in Aberfan. It was a very, as I said, very emotional and powerful piece to create, and it's blunt. I feel that it needs to be. It's hard to look at, but it's educational, and it's now on permanent display in the Rhondda Heritage Park. And if you go and see it, please let me know your thoughts and feelings, what it's like when you see it in person, because it is a hard piece to look at, but I'm hoping that it educates future generations as to what happened that day. And that's it. Thank you for watching my top 10, well, technically 11 if you count the joint 10th place, artworks of 2021. I have so many ideas, and obviously there were so many more I could have mentioned as well from throughout 2021. There were some great pieces I loved creating, like the hashtag Free Britney artwork and the Louis V Summit rugby ball thing that I did, and there was just so many pieces that I absolutely loved creating that didn't quite make the cut into this top 10. But as I said, I've got loads of ideas, and bring on 2022. I've already got so much in the pipeline, and I cannot wait to share it all with you. Happy New Year, everyone, and thank you for all the support and everything ongoing over the past few years. Mwah.